Hello friends, it is October 10, 2023. I'm going to try to make this video. It's probably going to come out bad. What I have in my mind, what I'm going to be able to produce, I don't know if it's going to match. So please bear with me. And be forewarned, I am going to talk about some of my personal story here. So for people who don't want to hear people's stories, or they don't want to hear my personal story, you may want to just shut the video off. It has to do with where I am in the timeline. It has been an obsession of mine, at least going back to 1985. So we're about 40 years. When a big life-changing experience happened, completely altered the course of my life in every way. Every single facet of my life was altered this night in 1985. Went to bed one night. This was probably January, February, 85. And if anybody was alive in 1985, man, the United States was the king, top of the hill, man. We were patriotic. Everything was fantastic. So I go to sleep, and I'm sleeping away, and in an instant, I'm lucid and completely aware, and I'm in complete pitch blackness. And a second later, here I am right on the street. Rubble and blown out buildings and everything all over the place. Someone has wondered if this was like a pineapple tree or something like that in Hawaii. Like maybe this was a Hawaiian tree and this was a scene of Lahaina. And this is my very bad drawing of a dead tree. And these buildings aren't burned, they're blown up. So I wrote down here this could happen in 2023. For the past couple of days, I've been dealing with where I perceive I am on a timeline. Because when this happened to me, I went crazy. I woke up the next morning, I remembered it, and a huge download of information came into my mind regarding the future, regarding all the systems that were in place in 1985 and were rock solid. They weren't going to be there in the future. And I'm walking around saying this, and everybody thought I was crazy. I literally thought I had lost my mind. And this became the obsession. And I knew there was no job, there was no nothing in this life for me, other than where was I on this timeline? I knew this was going to happen. I saw it. I knew it. Completely, every decision I made, I was 16 years old. Every decision I made, major decision, was based around this. And it took me all kinds of interesting places. In the second half of the 90s, I ended up living with a group of intuitives. We had similar visions of the future. That's why we got together then. And we lived together for a couple of years. And I told them what I had seen. They told me what they had seen. And we were all right. That there was going to be an invasion over the southern border. That there'd be digital ID. All that stuff. But we were off. We were off by 25 years. We had to go on, disbanded or whatever. And then I had to go and do other things, do all kinds of other things. Because it just wasn't time yet. But I didn't know. I didn't have any sense of the timeline. No sense of where I was. And a dedication to remote viewing going on 25 years now. Because remote viewing was, for me, how I was going to track the timeline. I was going to know where I was on the timeline getting to this here. So some things started showing up in my remote viewing work. Like this. The coming virus. Back in November of 2017. I had no idea. It took me 2 years for a virus to start, and it took another year and a half before I saw the images of the amyloid clots they're pulling out of people, which was the feedback for this. So it took me 5 years to get feedback on this. But what it did, the only thing that matters is that I had a sense of where I was on the timeline. That's the only thing that's important about it. And this here, from the Q sessions, January 2028. There's a big broadcast. Massive broadcast goes out. Okay, that's weird. It's in the same session as the event horizon, or the so-called event horizon. I didn't know what it meant. But earlier this month, October 4th, 6 days ago, there's a massive broadcast that goes out. Not only in the United States, but in Russia. Russia and the United States. Massive broadcast. Emergency broadcast, which was also in these too. The emergency broadcast was also in these sessions too. In fact, it might even be in here. You know, it's the virus. The virus is coming, man. The virus is coming. This, I don't know if I have it in here. Oh, here, this might be it. Somewhere in there, but it's in there somewhere, and it says specifically the emergency broadcast. So there's some people who have their opinions about what the broadcast was. I'm not saying what it was or what it isn't. I'm only looking at it in terms of being able to see where I am on the timeline. Because it happened in both the United States and Russia, it's a big deal. And what people were saying about it is a big deal. And how it might relate to this. But this was in the same session as this. This is the biggie. This is the biggie right here. Back in 2018, didn't know. All it was to me was something on the timeline that when it hit, I would know where I was in time. When this hit on the October 4th, I knew where I was in time. When this hit in late 2019, I knew where I was in time. Significant time markers. Here's another one for a future forecasting group. This target here was November of 2021. The target was for us to look at the date February 22, 2022. It was that date, which is 02/22/2022, and 2 to 3 days before, 2 to 3 days after any events people were concerned, something going to happen that day. Of course, we're just given a target. We're completely blind. This is what came in. That the target relates to 2022, and this target as prophecy in biblical terms. And this was the start of a war. Russia invaded Ukraine. February 23rd, 24th. That's what I saw. All it means to me, it's not, ooh, look at me. It's, where am I on the timeline in regards to this? This is the biggie. This is the biggie here. in 2020. In 2020, these are from some remote viewing sessions for Future Forecasting Group. Back in 2020, November 2020, I started to get some sense of this year, 2023, and it was ominous. It was ominous. This is going to be big, real big, man. This is where you gotta get ready. 2023. This was not 2023. Again, same. This is from, I believe, the same session. Get ready, man. I could feel it. There's a breakdown of some kind. I could feel it looming out there on the horizon. It's black and dark. Feels like a disruption in the electrical system. An opportunity for an upgrade. This is the year to watch out for and prepare for. Don't fear. Prepare. Put on your big boy and big girl pants. That was for now. That's for now. Here. Strength, man. Don't fear. Prepare. What does that mean to me? That means that what's happening right now in Israel and Palestine, as I'm looking at the images from Palestine, it's this. It reminds me of this. It looks exactly like this. And the other indicator of that is that with the Future Forecasting Group, weeks ago, we were all given a target blind. None of us got anything related to the target. We all went to a big event that was about to happen. And it did happen a couple days ago. Israel, Palestine. I did 4 sessions for that target. Packed, dense, like these, My sessions I pack a lot in, I don't like to leave any space left on the page, So they're packed in. And there's a lot of information about what this means, what it means, or at least what it means to me. I'm not trying to convince anybody of what any of this means. I'm only conveying what it means to me, only to me. Because of the event in Israel and the event here, from the event horizon from 2018 that I saw, getting closer. These are some interesting things here too. This session here, the target was to look, it was something related to Great Britain in the near future. And foreseeing an event here. But what event? It can relate to a pale horse and the Temple Mount and the imagery related to these. It's told as if it is recalled from a dream. Behold, a day approaches. Watch and listen, like a faint, distant voice from the past. As sure as night turns to day, the pale horse approaches the Temple Mount. This is another session from Future Forecasting Group. This was the coronation of Charles. And there was a ceremony. And there was strength in death. To bring death when deemed needed. To end a cycle or close a circle. There's death on the horse. There's death to the Temple Mount. The significance of it, to me again, is as it relates to this here. Because in my sense, my strong sense, why I've been going kind of crazy for the past week, is that what just happened is this. And it's just the beginning. It's the beginning. Right here. It's just the beginning. This was from Future Forecasting Group. Looking at the events of October of this year. I did this September 22nd, I believe. And the significance of this, again, very esoteric. My work tends to go into the esoteric. I'm not unfamiliar with the esoteric. So it lets me know again how close. This is from April 13. I put it down April 15, 2022. So it lets me know, like I say, like I continue to say, where are we on the timeline? So I've had to wrestle with this. Oh yeah, the Lahaina thing. The Lahaina thing was interesting too. Because the Lahaina thing was another very big event on the timeline. The monthly events we do with Future Forecasting Group, this is one that I had. The month that Lahaina happened, I had this for the previous month. So I was 13 days off from the event. And that's exactly what I saw. Charred remains of people and things. A large fire sweeps through. People are inside and are trapped. And all that's left is their charred remains. A memorial is set up as a result. And they're setting it up. That's not the only connection to Lahaina. This was from a session with Future Forecasting Group as well, to look at an island of the Hawaiian Islands at a specific date. And it was about the property, signing over property. So these things let me know where I am. So why have I been going crazy for the past couple of days? Because I've been sitting with, okay, if I'm here, what do I do now? Now what? Which has been the question I always ask myself when I reach a destination. It's like, now what? What do I do now? So it's a new adventure. It's a new new markers are set, because in my strongest sense, this 1985 just happened, and it's just getting started, man. So yeah, that's where I've been at. Hopefully this hasn't been a too long and boring, ridiculous video, I hope. But it's made me crazy for the past couple of days. And so this morning, I gotta put it in, I gotta compile it here, and document it. So, where do we go from here? Yeah.